Good afternoon, YouTube. Welcome back once again to Fat Cat Collections. Today I want to do a video. I was doing a little keyword research and just trying to come up with some, videos that might be helpful to some folks and possibly get, maybe a few more views. You know what I mean? As YouTube influencers, as YouTube creators, views is the name of the game. Growing the channel, and providing content that people find informational, helpful, or entertaining, right? So one video out there, all the years, right, that I've never put up is how to size Invicta watches, right? So there are guys out there who have put up videos like this, but I have a pretty good following for Invicta watches, and I'm laughing because I have I don't know how many Invictas I have. I have over 100, and I think 160 watches now. Something like that. And and that's not, there's guys out there who might blow my collection away. I mean, seriously, some of you guys are over the top, man. 300, 400 Invictas, right? Just Invictas. I have maybe 80 Invictas, maybe a little less. I haven't counted, I don't really know. But but the channel mainly got started with me doing, got traction with Invicta watch reviews, right? So I never really put up a sizing video, and so I will eventually, I guess because I feel like sizing videos are kind of boring, honestly, but all right, so today I want to at least share with you guys a lot of the Invictas, and I could do a video on each watch and how to size each watch. What I have here is one of my boxes. I have two of these full of spare links, right, from all the different watches I have full. And so I'm just going to show you guys on a link. Now, when it comes to this is a link, a set of links to a Grand Octane or Grand Arsenal. And I'll just show you guys what that looks like. You can see the push pins on the sides. I believe they're called push pins or friction pins. You don't need, this is not rocket science, you don't need a lot of high-tech gear. You can get a very inexpensive kit off eBay. Now, there are some things that you can get that you might find helpful, but I will tell you, when it comes to the Invicta watches, I kind of muscle it. I just go, with really any watch. I know there are guys out there who, not trying to hurt anybody's feelings, but some guys out there who size a watch and they'll go be putting on the little finger condoms, and they get the little jeweler's loop. You don't have to do all that crazy shit, okay? Remember, the nice thing about having affordable watches is that you don't really have to, you're not really too worried, I think, if you get a little scratch in it, right? I mean, I'm not trying to do that, but I'm just saying, it's not the end of the world. So one thing that I consistently use, and this is kind of, you might say, damn, man, really? So I never have the tools that I need. And so I've been using the same old crap for a long time. I have some tools like this that are kind of useless when it comes to Invicta watches. I kind of take each watch that I might have to work on, on a case-by-case basis. This will work on smaller watches. This is a case back remover, and a lot of watches will have the grooves in the back of the thread if it's a threaded case. And you size this, and you basically turn it. None of them work great. This is a really inexpensive tool. A lot of the Invictas are way too big. So in the past, I've drilled these out and made them larger, made kind of custom ones. Honestly, now, I just, again, when the batteries die, there's 5 that the batteries are dead. I didn't even replace them yet. When I feel like doing it, I will, but just something to think about. Some of the other tools that I've received or I've purchased over the years, let me see if I still have it here, are, I probably threw it away because it's kind of useless. It is a standoff block. Yeah, I think I did throw it away. So anyway, it's like a plastic block, and you put the band in it sideways, and it allows you to bang the pins out if they are non-threaded. And this is what Invicta uses on a lot of their watches. It's too bad they use these. They're very functional. They work fine. But as far as sizing, Aragon uses screws in a lot of theirs and a lot of other companies. And the screws are kind of nice. The downside is that when it comes to screws, a lot of bands will only allow you to remove maybe 5 or 6 links. With these Invictas, you can remove a lot more if you have smaller wrists. And let's face it, when you have a big watch like a 56mm or 58mm watch, you may have to take out, this is from my most recent Invicta. This one's from, actually, I'm sorry, this is from the new 5 time zone Shack watch. I took out 6 links, and I have a 7-inch wrist. So, again, you might have to remove more links. It just depends, right? Now, I will say that with this, you want to be a little careful on some of the Invicta links because, or really with any link, you have sizing pins and you have pins that are actually friction pins that aren't really designed to be removed. So I've had a few cases where you'll get a sticky pin and you'll be tapping. I'll show you the tool I use. Nothing, no rocket science here. And you basically just bang the pin out. They usually have arrows on them, so you want to follow the direction of the arrow. So in this case, the arrow is pointing down the way I'm holding this, and you want to push the pin in common sense in the direction of the arrow. I will tell you, I have in the past, made the mistake of going the wrong way. And what you have here is basically you have a spring pin. And it's a pin that's basically split down the middle. And that pin is kind of like a little bit of a tension pin. Because it's split, it kind of flexes a little bit. It wants to push itself out. A lot of times I will bend them out a little bit to get a little bit tighter fit if I'm having a problem with the pin fitting. Depends on the watch, right? Every watch is a little bit different. Some of the Grand Octanes actually have a it's not a split pin, but it's just a standard pin that rides inside of a sleeve. So again, it depends on each watch. But with this particular watch and a lot of the Invictas that I've encountered, you'll just have one of these pins. So what I use is, when I've had these, it's just a simple watch kit, watch tools you get on eBay. I have all the little watch things watch tools for replacing batteries, stuff like that. But what I've been using most of all, that's if I didn't lose it, right, is this has been pretty good for me, but you can see it's this is kind of ghetto, but it's kind of beat up a little bit, right? This is just a set of really fine tweezers, but they've been pretty hard over the years. And my issue is when it comes to some of these pin removers, which I don't even know if I honestly, I know I have one somewhere here. Bear with me, guys. You'd think I'd have this ready to go before doing a video, right? But anyway, so this is, I'm not going to say embarrassing because I don't really get embarrassed, but obviously, but anyway, I thought I had one, guys, but oh well. So anyway, the tool I normally use is something like this. It's basically just has a pin on the end with kind of a knurled sleeve, right? And basically what you do is, really you can use any kind of pin to push the other pin out. So I use one of those and then a jeweler's hammer. And so what's nice about this is that you have kind of a soft, kind of plastic end. You can see mine's old and beat up. Obviously I've used the other end as well. But what's nice about this is that this is going to help to eliminate any kind of scratching. When you get these pins in and you get closer to the links, you're going to have to tap the link to get them in. You can use like a pin set, which is like another pin, and just kind of gently tap that in. Whatever works for you. I'm usually honestly too impatient to worry about having all these ways to hold it in a vise. You can do whatever is going to make you happy, I guess, but what I normally do is I just hold the watch in my hand, I look at the direction of the pin, I line it up on my leg, right, where my quad is, and I basically just gently hold, in this case, it would be these tweezers here, because they got a nice hard edge, which unfortunately I've still managed to bend, and I'll just line it up in the hole, and usually there's a little bit of a recession inside each hole, and you can just kind of hold your pin, or in this case, we'll just call this my pin remover, right on top there, and I press it against my leg, which again, my shin, or my quad has some soft, and actually it's my skin, my muscle, and so that flexes a little bit, and then I just basically tap the end. So I use the metal side to tap the end on my push pin remover, and then once I get the pin out far enough, and again, don't go in too far, because if you're using something like this, you could spread the hole here. So you don't want to do that. If you're using the proper tool, and you could spend all kinds of different money on different tools. I mean, I should buy a better set, but I don't really need much. I really only need 3 tools. So once you get the pin out far enough, I'll just go ahead and grab some needle nose pliers, whatever is going to work for you. Grab the pin and then gently just kind of pull it out. You might have to tap it a little bit further to get a nice grip on it. Once you pull it out, you'll see that pin on the inside is split down the middle. Now again, it's designed to come out one way. If you tried to push the other way, that friction is going to get the pin stuck inside there, and you might have a problem. I've done that, in the beginning of sizing watches, and honestly just being too impatient, not looking and seeing the arrow. I've went the opposite direction before, and you get that sucker stuck in there, and you have a heck of a time trying to get it out. So then you could damage it. You might even have to send the watch back in for a repair. So just keep that in mind. I will say that plating causes a little bit of an issue with some of the watches. I will say that the Invictas that are gold plated and plated in like the different colors tend to be, not the different colors, but like if you get like a blue or black plating, the PVD plating, the metal ones seem to be just as easy as your standard stainless steel. But I will tell you that the iridium or the rainbow iridescent finished watches, I don't know if those are heat treated or something like that, but those are the hardest watches to size. I only have 2 in my collection, and each time I had a hell of a time trying to get the pins out, where I really had to whack on them pretty hard and really use some force to get them out, to the point where I think I broke one of the pins. I was still able to get it out. So just kind of keep that in mind. So that's really all you do. You tap the pins out, and so let me just show you. I'm not gonna. I know I'm gonna get some people who are like, "Oh, you didn't even show us you doing it." You know, if you can't understand that I'm taking this right here, if you can't understand that I'm gonna put this on my leg and tap the pin out and then show you, and that's a real problem for you, you should probably just not watch the video. You're too picky, Karen. Okay. So again, you line up the hole, and what I will do is I'm just gonna tap this on out here, and what I do is doing it on my leg like this, I can actually feel when the pin is coming out of the link, and you can see even I've tapped it quite a bit here and still not coming out, so we're going to tap it again. And the reason I use the metal side is because you get a little bit more oomph behind each blow, so I can feel the pin kind of exiting the hole here, and I can feel it kind of digging into my leg a little bit. Don't use don't use jeans or pants you're going to ruin, of course. Or put something over your leg, or you do it on on anything really. Put it on a notebook pad, do it on your desk. My desk is glass, so I tend to do it on my leg because I can feel the pin. So and then once you do that, you just basically, oops, get this a little further here. Now let me get that back. Let me just do that again here. Get this back in. Let me try that again. Let me get this other one here because that one's a little bit sticky for the purpose of this video here. Oops. Just tap it out. And then what you'll see here is probably, hopefully you can see it, probably not by the video. This is actually split. So I'll just grab it like so, pull the pin out. And then once the pin is out, you will see that the link separates. Like so. Now again, if you were to, now some of these pins are really stuck and you have a heck of a time getting them out. I've had situations where the pin will actually start to separate or push the links apart. And so you want to be careful because then you could damage the link. You can see these are individual pieces, but this piece, this piece, and this piece on this particular band, and most of them aren't meant to come apart. This is meant to stay together, and then you remove each pin that is removable, right? So just kind of keep that in mind when you're whacking away. Be careful. Make sure you do it in the right direction. Once the pin is removed, then you can remove a link, and then let's just say you're putting this back together. You already removed the link. You're basically just going to pop this together. And let me just show you real quick here the pin, if I don't lose it. And be careful when you do this, because if I'm so used to doing this that I just do it on my carpet's kind of shaggy, and once you lose something in there, it's hard to find it. So usually if I'm working with really small screws or things that I don't have replacement parts for, I'll kind of do it over like a lid or a plate on my desk, something white so I can really see it. But this is what this is going to look like, and hopefully what this does look like. I mean, let me try to separate this a little bit here, and you can see kind of what I'm talking about. Oops, hopefully. There we go. So what we have here, and hopefully I won't drop it, is you can see that that's separated, kind of like a chopstick, right? And so the end is actually has a little bit of a kind of a knot on it, or like a fluting. I'm not really sure how to say that, but it's basically like larger than the rest of the pin. And so that's what really, with this spring kind of design, it pushes up on these two little kind of nipples on here, and that creates friction inside the link. And so obviously if you were to push that through the opposite side, you would kind of get that lodge inside the shaft there. So or inside, yeah, the shaft, the link hole, right? So make sure you're doing that in the right direction. So when you basically put the band together, we'll pretend like I removed 2 of these pins, remove the link. Basically just line up the band, and then you'll look at the direction of the arrow, and you're going to go back in the direction you came out of. So in this case, the arrow is pointing to this side, or that way, right? To my right. And so the pin came out like so. Here, let me just, with the kind of nipple side to the right, right? That's how it came out. So we're going to put it back in with the closed end facing the arrow and push it back in. Once you get the pin sort of in there. Take your hammer and again use the plastic side and just kind of pound that down. And what I normally do is I'll then take my tweezer again, or your push pin remover, get it on the edge there and line it up and just give it a little tap to kind of recess it into the hole so it's not going to work out on you. And that's really about it. There's other tools you can use that are, you know, maybe a little bit you know, friendlier, I guess, so to speak, or a little bit more delicate. But for me, you know, I have these. I've done it so many times. That's how you size the link or how size the watches. And pretty much most of the Invicta watches, I mean, here's another one here. Same style. This is off a Zeus Bolt. You know, most of the watches are pretty much the same. Some of the Aragon watches you will find are actually threaded. And if they're threaded, then this is, I know this is kind of common sense, but some folks don't know, you know. You can get these little tiny screwdrivers. You can probably find something like this at Harbor Freight, although I've never looked. This came with one of my Visser dive watches. All this stuff, I think, if you're going to get involved in collecting watches, or even if you're going to buy a watch for your first time, or whatever your reason is, or wherever you are in your journey, buy a small set. They're like, I think you can get a watch sizing kit on eBay for like under 20 bucks. The problem is if you're getting like Invicta watches, a lot of the tools you're going to get in there are going to be useless to you. The main tools you're going to need is the hammer, some sort of push pin remover, and and maybe some needle nose pliers or something like that. That's really all you really need. You know, you might get some watches that are going to be a little bit more difficult. Others are going to be normal and easy. Again, I found that the plated watches and definitely the iridium or the iridescent finished watch is always a nightmare sizing those. And I only have two, and I probably won't add any more of those because they're really loud. They're not really, I like them, but you get time and a place for one of those. But that's about it, guys. So I hope the video was helpful. If I can help you guys anyway, always. I know I didn't show you the whole process. There's other guys out there who do the sizing, walk you through the whole process. I think if you're a guy looking into doing this to yourself or sizing your own watches, or if you're hand to yourself, you know, all we need are little bits of information to do it. It's not hard at all. So no reason to really pay somebody to do this. You got to pay like 20 bucks to size your watch, and then you have to go and drive and wait for all that nonsense. So just do it yourself. If you're going to order a watch, again, do it through my links in the description. But do pick up a kit as well. So anyway, guys, have a wonderful day. Subscribe to the channel if you like the content, and take care.